right now, in a culture that confuses volume with value and confuses noise with knowledge, the loudest debate sweeping through hip-hop is not about streaming numbers, not about who sold what, and not about who got booed off what stage. The loudest debate right now is a writing debate, a pen debate, a lyric-by-lyric forensic debate. And at the center of all of it sit two of the most documented, most dissected, most argued about names in the modern era: Drake and Kendrick. Two pens, two legacies. And what just exploded across the timeline in the last few hours is something so layered, so deeply rooted in everything fans have been afraid to say out loud, that it is now flipping the entire conversation on its head in real time. Because here is what just happened. A clip went viral. A debate broke out on a panel show where one side stood there and declared that Drake is the more talented writer, not just for himself, but for everybody else who has ever picked up a pen near him. The other side tried to push back, tried to bring up storytelling, tried to bring up Pulitzer-level craft, and the debate immediately collapsed into the same lazy talking points the internet has been recycling for 2 straight years. And once the clip hit the algorithm, the timeline split clean in half. Half the room said one name, half the room said the other. And the rest of us sat there knowing the only way to settle a writing debate is to actually pull up the writing. So somebody finally did. Somebody finally pulled up 2 raw freestyles side by side. No production, no smoke and mirrors, no co-writers in the booth, no engineer cleaning anything up. Just bars, just pens, just 2 of the biggest names in the genre standing naked in front of a microphone. And what those clips showed is something that is now impossible to walk back, impossible to spin, and impossible to talk your way out of. And once you hear what those tapes revealed about each of them, you are going to understand why this conversation is about to change the way the public ranks rappers for the next decade. Now hold on a second before we go any deeper here, because I have to lay something out for everybody watching this video right now. If you have been rocking with this channel, if you have ever pressed play on one of these breakdowns and left with even a single moment of value, do me one favor, and I promise I will not keep asking. Smash that subscribe button, tap that bell, and drop a comment with one name and one name only, whoever you think wins this writing debate. That single tap helps push this kind of breakdown to people who actually want to talk hip-hop, instead of being fed the same recycled timeline trash every single day. Real talk, I appreciate every single one of you for being here. Now, let us get into it. For those who haven't been paying close attention to the way this conversation has shifted, here is the short version. The internet, the podcasts, the panel shows, the so-called debate rooms, they have all been arguing the wrong question for years. They keep asking who is the better rapper. They keep asking who is the more popular artist. They keep asking who sells more, who streams more, who tours more, who trends more. And those are all fine questions if you want to talk about marketing. But the question on the table right now is not marketing. The question is writing, pure writing. And writing has rules. Writing has measurable tools. Writing has literary devices that you can either deploy or you cannot. So when somebody steps up and says Drake is the better writer, fine, that is a position. But that position has to be defended on the page, not on the chart, not on the playlist, on the page. And that is where this whole thing falls apart for the Aubrey side of this argument, and I'm going to walk you through exactly why. Pull up the first freestyle. This is Drake.
Tim Westwood era, pre-Mob Ties era, pre-OVO Empire era. The version of Drake that everybody now says they miss, which is itself a quiet admission that something has changed in his pen. He opens with what is now the meme line, the Slumdog Millionaire Bollywood flow, and he rolls into a stretch of bars that on paper look fine. He rhymes views with crews, with shoes, with dudes. He rhymes confused with choose. He builds out a small circle metaphor. He pivots into a line about Miami nights and sweaters. He hits a punchline about the dragon and the field goal. He name drops LeBron and St. Vincent St. Mary. He puts together a few moments that you can absolutely respect on a technical level. There is craft there. There is rhythm there. But here is the surgical truth nobody on his side wants to say out loud. The rhyme structures Drake is using in that freestyle are almost entirely single-syllable rhymes. Views, crews, shoes. That is 1 syllable per word. That is the kind of rhyming that elementary school ciphers run on. It is not bad, but it is not difficult, and writing as a discipline rewards difficulty. Writing as a discipline rewards layered construction. Writing as a discipline rewards the ability to stack 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables of internal rhyme inside a single bar while still telling a coherent story. And in that freestyle, the story barely exists. He is moving from a club bar to a weather bar to a basketball bar to a London bar without any connecting tissue. He is stitching verses together in real time. You can hear him do it, and you can hear the moment where the seams show. Now flip the tape. Pull up the Kendrick freestyle. Same conditions, no beat tricks, no production cover, just a pen, a mic, and a brain. And from the very first bar, you can hear the difference at the molecular level. Kendrick opens by setting a scene. He puts you in a room. He puts you at a domino table. He drops his father in the picture. He drops Tony in the picture. And within 10 seconds, you are inside a story with 3 characters, a location, and a stakes meter already climbing. That is screenwriting craft sitting inside a freestyle. Then watch what Kendrick does with the rhyme scheme. He says the line about hopping out bustin' like 4 charters. He stacks holy water with marijuana with bunk bed air hustling. He moves into alliteration so dense you can taste it. Vivid images going against any fantasy you can fathom. Phantoms ain't the only thing that's suicidal. That is not a single syllable rhyme. That is not even a double. That is full multi-syllable internal rhyming braided with alliteration, braided with metaphor, braided with narrative progression all at the same time. Kendrick is doing 4 literary jobs inside 1 bar, while the other pen is doing 1 literary job spread across 4 bars. That is not a matter of taste, that is a matter of measurement. And once you see it that clearly, you cannot unsee it. The line about the rifle aimed at your arteries, part of me, parts of me is psycho. That is an ABBA rhyme scheme buried inside a horror image, inside a coming-of-age story, inside a Crenshaw childhood memoir, all happening in a single breath. The line about sparring with a dragon, ducking the flame, stabbing the beast, that is a punchline wrapped inside a metaphor, wrapped inside a self-mythology bar. The line about being carried by the big 6 domino, that is wordplay so layered you have to rewind the freestyle 3 times to catch the funeral reference, the domino reference, and the rolling 6 gang nods sitting on top of each other in the same syllable cluster. This is the writing. This is the craft. This is what writing means when the word is used correctly. And the part that makes this debate impossible to defend on the Drake side is that Kendrick is calling the verse a throwaway in the middle of the freestyle. He literally raps the line about how this is just a throwaway to him. He is telling you on tape that the level you are hearing is not even his peak. That is a confidence level that you can only have when the pen is doing things the competition cannot do. Now hold on, because I already know what the comment section is about to fill up with. Somebody is going to say, well, his hooks are better. Somebody is going to say, well, his songs for women are better. Somebody is going to say, well, he has more #1s, more plaques, more cultural footprint. And to all of that, I will say one thing. None of those metrics are writing. Selling is not writing. Charting is not writing. Touring is not writing. Headlining is not writing. The question on the table is who is the better writer, and writing has measurable tools. Multi-syllable rhyme schemes, internal rhyme density, alliteration deployment, metaphor stacking, narrative architecture, character development inside a 16-bar window, theme control, imagery weight, pacing inside the cadence, voice modulation as an instrument. And when you stack those tools head to head, the Westwood tape delivers maybe 2 of them at a competent level, while the Kendrick tape delivers all of them at a competition level. That is not a take, that is a tally. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because the writing debate is not just a writing debate anymore. It is becoming a referendum on what the genre is willing to call talent. For the last decade, the bar has been steadily lowered. The bar has been lowered to the point where catchy beat selection is being called writing. The bar has been lowered to the point where a memorable ad-lib is being called writing. The bar has been lowered to the point where having a co-writer in the room is being called writing. And every time Kendrick releases anything that demonstrates the actual craft, the conversation gets dragged back to popularity, back to streams, back to the comfortable metrics that protect Drake from being judged on the page. That is not an accident. That is a survival mechanism.
Because the moment the conversation actually stays on writing, the OVO camp is forced to defend rhymes like views and cruise and shoes against rhymes like fantasy you can fathom and phantom suicidal, and that defense cannot be made. And listen, I want to be clear about something, because the comment section is going to try to turn this into a fan war. This is not a hate video. The man has made some of the most commercially perfect songs of the modern era. He has built one of the most influential catalogs of the last 15 years. Drake has shaped the sound of an entire generation of melodic rap. None of that is being challenged in this video. What is being challenged is one very specific claim, the claim that Drake is the better writer. And on that specific claim, the receipts are now out, the tape is now out, and the verdict is now out. Because writing has rules, and the tape does not lie. And the Kendrick freestyle is operating at a level of literary architecture that the Westwood freestyle simply is not reaching for. That is not opinion, that is observation. And you can rewind both tapes 100 times and the gap only gets wider. Now here's the part that is going to really set the timeline on fire, because the writing debate is now flowing directly into the legacy debate. And the legacy debate is the one Drake cannot afford to lose. Drake's entire post-2024 identity has been built on the idea that the rap establishment did them dirty, that the awards were political, that the Pulitzer was political, that the critical love for Kendrick was an industry plant. But the freestyle tape destroys that entire defense, because a freestyle is the one place where the industry cannot help you. There is no co-writer in a freestyle.
There is no engineer cleaning up the cadence in a freestyle. There is no A&R picking a beat to mask the bars in a freestyle. A freestyle is the bare pen, and the bare pen is the only honest measurement of a rapper's writing ability. So when the bare pen produces views and cruise and shoes on one side, and Kendrick's bare pen produces a 4-minute autobiographical novella with alliteration, internal rhyme, AABBA construction, and multi-character storytelling on the other, the legacy conversation gets rewritten in real time. And it gets rewritten in a way the opposing team has no counter for. Coming back full circle to what really matters here, because this is the part the panel shows are missing. The reason this writing debate is exploding right now is not because of one panel clip. The reason it is exploding right now is because the audience has finally been given permission to say out loud what the audience has been thinking quietly for years. That the writing gap between these two pens is not a fan war gap. That the writing gap is a measurable, demonstrable literary gap. That you can count it on the page. That you can count the syllables. That you can count the literary devices. That you can count the rhyme schemes. That you can count the metaphors, and every time you count, the same name wins. Kendrick, Kendrick, Kendrick. Not because his fans are wrong about loving him, not because he is talentless, not because he has nothing to offer, but because when the conversation specifically narrows down to writing, the tools tell the story, and the tools all point in one direction. And here is the deeper layer of this, the one nobody on the panel shows is brave enough to say. The reason Kendrick can keep producing this caliber of writing is because of how Kendrick has structured his entire career around the pen. Kendrick has not chased the playlist. Kendrick has not chased the timeline. He has not chased the engagement metric. Kendrick has spent the last 15 years building a creative practice that prioritizes literary depth over commercial reach. And the dividend of that practice is on display in every freestyle, every album, every guest verse, every single line he releases. Meanwhile, Drake has spent the same 15 years optimizing for the opposite. Drake has chased the playlist. Drake has chased the timeline. He has chased the engagement metric. And the dividend of that practice is also visible in the radio numbers, in the catalog size, in the cultural footprint. Two different careers, two different philosophies, two different relationships with the pen, and only one of those philosophies produces the kind of writing that can hold up under a forensic examination. That is not his fault, that is his strategy, but strategy is not writing, and the writing debate is the writing debate. And it gets even crazier when you zoom out one more level, because the people defending Drake in this debate are not defending his pen. They are defending their own ears. They are defending the years they spent listening, the playlists they built, the memories they tied to those songs. And that is a real thing. Music does that.
Music attaches itself to your life, and the artist becomes a soundtrack to a chapter you cannot let go of. So when somebody steps up and says Kendrick is the better writer, what his loyal fan hears is not a literary verdict. What that fan hears is a threat to their own memory bank. And that is why the fan war energy hits so hard, because it feels personal, even though the writing question is not personal at all. It is mechanical, it is measurable, it is the tools, the syllables, the devices, the page. That is all the writing question has ever been. And once you separate the writing question from the fandom question, the answer becomes obvious to everybody in the room, even the people who do not want to say it out loud. So with everything laid out on the table, here is where this all lands. The next time a panel show puts two seats out and asks who is the better writer between these two, the panel does not need a debate. The panel needs a tape recorder. Pull up the Westwood freestyle. Pull up the Kendrick freestyle. Press play. Count the literary tools. Count the syllables. Count the rhyme densities. Count the storytelling beats. Count the character development. Count the metaphor stacks. Count the alliteration runs. And whatever number you land on, that number is the answer. Not the streaming number, not the plaque number, not the touring number, the writing number. And the writing number tells one story and one story only. Kendrick writes at a level that the modern era has almost forgotten is possible, while the other pen writes at a level that is excellent for commercial radio, but is not the level being claimed by his most aggressive defenders. That gap is not closing. That gap is widening. And the longer the panel shows pretend the gap does not exist, the more ridiculous the panel shows are gonna look once the next Kendrick verse drops and the next Drake verse drops and the comparison is made again in real time. And here is where the conversation has to get even more honest, because there is a part of this writing debate that almost nobody on the panel circuit wants to touch, and it is the part that exposes the entire architecture of how Drake's catalog has been built versus how Kendrick's catalog has been built. Think about it this way. When Drake walks into a studio, the room is full. The producers are there, the engineers are there, the melody specialists are there, the pen specialists are there, the hook doctors are there, the cadence consultants are there. It is a creative committee operating at maximum efficiency. And that committee has produced some of the most successful records in modern music history. Nobody can take that away from Drake. But when the question on the table is specifically about writing, that committee is not on the freestyle tape. That committee is not at the Westwood booth. That committee is not standing next to Drake when the red light is on and the bars have to come out of his own mouth on his own breath. So what you hear in that Westwood freestyle is Drake without the committee. And what you hear in the Kendrick freestyle is Kendrick with nothing but Kendrick. And the gap between those two solo performances is the only measurement that matters when the writing question is being asked. The committee elevated Drake's commercial output. The solo pen is what we are grading now, and the solo pen is where the gap shows. And this is where Drake's fan base has to make a really uncomfortable decision, because Drake's fan base has two options on the table. Option one, admit that the commercial Drake we have all enjoyed for 15 years was the product of a brilliant creative system, not the product of a single dominant pen. That is actually a respectful position. That position says Drake is a great curator, a great producer of music as a unit, a great packager of vibe, melody, and cultural moment. Option two, insist that Drake is also a dominant pen on the same level as Kendrick, and then watch that claim get shredded every single time a freestyle, an acapella, or an off-the-record verse gets pulled up for direct comparison. Option one is sustainable. Option two is not. And the panel shows are pushing option two, because option two generates more outrage, more clicks, more comment section warfare. But option one is the actual truth, and the audience can feel that the truth is sitting right there under the surface of every one of these arguments. That is why the comments under the panel clip exploded the way they did. The audience knows. The audience has always known. The audience is just waiting for the gatekeepers to finally let them say it. Now let us zoom out even further, because this is the part that connects the writing debate to the bigger story of where hip-hop is going. The reason a Kendrick freestyle hits the way it does in 2026 is the same reason a Nas verse hit in 1994, the same reason a Biggie verse hit in 1995, the same reason an Andre 3000 verse hit in 1998. The reason is that the writing is loaded. The writing is layered. The writing rewards a second listen, a third listen, a 10th listen. You can rewind a Kendrick line 3 times and find 3 different meanings inside it. You can rewind one of those Drake club bars 3 times and you get the same single meaning every single time. That is not an insult to Drake. That is a description of the design intent. Drake's bars are designed to land instantly. Kendrick's bars are designed to land in waves. Both intents are valid creative choices, but when the panel question is about writing, layered writing wins, because writing as a discipline is graded on what the writing rewards on the rewind. That is the standard the genre has always used. That is the standard the genre is going to keep using. And every honest historian of the form is going to put Kendrick in the writer's lineage and put Drake in the cultural architect lineage. 2 different awards, 2 different lanes, 2 different forms of greatness, but only one of those lanes is the writing lane. When the dust settles on all of this, the truth is simple. Writing is a craft. Crafts have measurable standards. Kendrick is meeting those standards at a level that puts him in the company of the all-time greatest pens the genre has ever produced. He is a commercial titan, a hook factory, a melody architect, and a cultural force. But by any honest measurement of the literary tools, Drake is not the better writer in this matchup. And the audience finally being given permission to say that out loud is exactly why this debate is going viral right now. Because nobody likes being told a thing they have been afraid to say is finally allowed to be said. So they say it, and then they say it louder, and then the comment sections fill up, and then the panel shows scramble, and then the algorithm pumps it, and then a brand new wave of fans who never even bothered to compare the 2 pens before, finally pull up both freestyles for themselves and hear what every honest ear has been hearing for a long time. So before you click off this video, do me a couple of favors so we can keep this conversation moving. Smash that like button if any part of this breakdown made you nod even once. Drop a comment with the single line from either freestyle that hits you the hardest, because I want to read every single one. Tap the bell so you do not miss the follow-up breakdown that I am already cooking up, which is going to take the next layer of this debate into territory the panel shows are absolutely not going to touch. And if you are sitting there thinking you want to go even deeper into this rivalry story arc, the suggested video on the screen right now is the next domino. Click it, watch it, tell me what you think. Because this is only chapter 1 of what is about to be the most explosive run of hip-hop conversation we have had in a very long time, and you are going to want to be inside the conversation, not chasing it from the outside. Real talk, thank you for sitting through this entire breakdown with me. The pen never lies, the tape never lies, and the writing never lies.